Buonasera, oggi è un giorno importante perché svegliamo la nostra vettura, la Ferrari F1-75. Non vi nascondo che sono personalmente emozionato. Questa vettura è l'espressione dell'impegno, di dedizione, di passione di ognuno di noi. Questa vettura è la sintesi di un lavoro di squadra, di un gruppo di persone che su questa macchina ha investito ogni risorsa, con coraggio, creatività e spirito di collaborazione. Questo è un buon gruppo che si è rafforzato ed ha investito competenze in questo progetto. Io personalmente ne sono orgoglioso. Abbiamo affrontato questo progetto e questa sfida con un approccio rivolto all'innovazione perché siamo convinti che oltre a un regolamento tecnico completamente nuovo, l'approccio mentale di apertura sia l'approccio giusto per questo esercizio. La F1-75 ci ricorda col suo nome che quest'anno celebriamo i 75 anni della prima vettura, la 125S, che porta il nome del nostro fondatore. Con lei speriamo di scrivere pagine che onorino la tradizione di questa scuderia, la più gloriosa e la più vincente di sempre. Bene, e adesso prima di mostrarvi e svelare la F1-75 mi piacerebbe che ci raggiungessero Charlie e Carlos.
Ciao Mattia.
Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Ciao, bene. These two guys are still very young but somehow very experienced. Charlie is a product of our academy. His fourth season for Scuderia Ferrari. He has always been very fast. He's talented. I think he's improving each single season. He's improving, going faster and faster, but he's improving as a person and as a driver as well. And I'm expecting he's improving furthermore here in the new season.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Mattia. Well, this is the goal. Obviously, I'm working as hard as I possibly can to improve years after years. But yeah, this season is going to be a very important season for the team, for ourselves, the drivers, and it is a good opportunity too. So the expectations are very, very high for everyone, but we are making sure that with all the work that we've done behind the scene, that will achieve great results during this season.
And you, Carlos, I think when we met and we decided to go together more than a year ago, I think that no one would have expected you to be so fast very soon. It has not been a surprise to us, but I think you fit very well in the new environment since the start of the season. You have improving through the season and somehow you have finished in a very strong manner. So I'm expecting for you furthermore to raise the bar in 2022, right?
Yes, more than ready for this season. 2021 was a great year for me because I managed to learn how the team works on the inside, to adapt to a new environment, but also mainly to learn about the Ferrari brand and how everything works in here, and was a great experience for me. Now it's time to take the team for a different level, take it to another step, and as drivers and the team together, we want more things and more success in 2022. So let's go and get it.
Okay, guys. Now, we've seen ourselves the cars, we've seen it on the screen, you drove it virtually. I think it's really time now to show it to our fans.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
So guys, how does it look like?
I love it. I really, really like it. I think I will love it even more if it's fast on track, but I absolutely love the look.
I think it looks aggressive, it looks radical. I think it looks beautiful also. And as Charles, I just hope it's fast.
There is a lot of changes, and it's quite a different car, starting from the front. And the front wing, the nose, in terms of concept, regulations, quite different compared to what we are used to.
It definitely is. It looks huge, no pylons, which is strange because we've been used in the past years to use them. So yeah, it is quite a different one.
And obviously the tires, bigger, 18 inches.
Yeah, we've tried them last year on last year's car, and it already felt like a step in the right direction. Should give us the possibility to push a bit more in the races, challenge a bit more the cars in front and behind, a bit more racing. And the only question mark obviously remains the visibility. It looks big, it looks like this might cover a bit, and in street circuits it might be a bit difficult.
But if you look at the car itself, I think it's quite different and quite aggressive. The bodywork is where we've got most of the changes. That's because it's where the regulations got most of the freedom. But if you look at that one, at least for me, it's quite impressive.
It definitely is. I think this is my favorite part of the car itself. You can really see how much work there's been for this bodywork. So it's yeah, it looks impressive, it looks extreme, and I like this.
Looks different, yeah.
And if you look at the packaging, I think a lot of effort, power unit, the packaging completely different, the cooling, power unit, we work a lot through the winter season, not only the entire year. Last year, tried to develop it because you know that will be a key element for the next season. So we developed it in terms of a lot of innovation on the combustion engine, a lot of, let me say, development as well on the hybrids that we brought as development last year in the season, but furthermore. So I think here there is quite a lot which have been done. It's covered, but a lot of innovations there. And obviously the suspensions, I think we work a lot on them. You can see different to the past, the rear wing. So those cars are different in terms of air concept because of the ground effect, the floors that we do not see here. But as well, I think in terms of shape, it's, at least for me, it's quite incredible, the work which has been done.
Innovative, different, thinking a bit out of the box. I like it because it's just radical, and it's what you want to see when you see a new car.
Do you like the livery?
Yes, I do. I think it fits perfectly. It's a bit of a darker red, looks a bit more aggressive, but for a car like this, I think it fits perfectly.
We have the 75-year anniversary, which I think fits well with the color scheme. We are trying to represent a bit the old days of Ferrari, and I think this color is a mix of what we had last year at the front with what we had at the back. You mix it, you have this color, which is, I think, a good representation.
And I think that logo on the bodywork is somehow the 75 years, as we said. It's important for us, it's important for Ferrari, and it's good to have it here on our cars.
It is, definitely.
Di sicuro questo è un monoposto in cui abbiamo messo il meglio di noi. Lo sanno Charles e Carlos, lo sappiamo tutti noi, ma lo dico a voi, nostri tifosi, a voi tutti. Io sono personalmente orgoglioso del lavoro che abbiamo fatto per progettare questa F1-75, perché qui c'è il nostro know-how, la nostra creatività e soprattutto la nostra passione. Questa è una Ferrari che voglio definire coraggiosa, perché penso che sia evidente, abbiamo voluto interpretare il nuovo regolamento anche in modo diverso. Sappiamo che le aspettative sono alte, che negli ultimi anni i risultati non sono stati all'altezza del nome che portiamo. Abbiamo iniziato un percorso nel 2019 che ci ha reso, attraverso diversi momenti difficili, una squadra più forte e soprattutto più unita, e che in questa macchina vede la migliore espressione del suo lavoro. Ora dobbiamo misurarci con gli avversari, è la sfida più bella, quella che rende il nostro lavoro così affascinante. Con la F1-75 vogliamo lottare in pista ad ogni gara, ad ogni Gran Premio, metro su metro con i nostri avversari per gli obiettivi anche più alti. Abbiamo una responsabilità verso la nostra azienda e i nostri partner, e soprattutto vorrei che fosse la monoposto che consentirà ai nostri tifosi e a noi di essere orgogliosi della Ferrari.
Ferrari is the only team to have competed in every season of the Formula One Championship and has been at the forefront of pushing the boundaries of innovation in the pursuit of speed for over 90 years in motorsport. The F1-75 represents the very best in the innovative team spirit and the quest for performance that the Scuderia has always exemplified, and that has driven the performance of our road cars for the last 75 years. The responsibility of taking this car and delivering on the expectations of our tifosi around the world now rests in the hands of Mattia, Charles, Carlos, and the whole team at Scuderia Ferrari. Their ceaseless efforts will determine our success as they look to write new chapters in our Formula One history, honoring the spirit of competition that our founder exemplified. I would like to end with a message to our tifosi. Your passion and commitment fuels our performance, as it always has. This year, we look forward to rewarding your loyalty and returning to our winning ways. Grazie e forza Ferrari!
Well, first of all, I loved it. Since the first moment I saw it, I felt like it was a very special car. Just by the looks of it, it looks like there's been a lot of thinking out of the box, a lot of innovative parts. It looks aggressive, it looks radical, and normally a car that looks aggressive and it's radical, it tends to do well. So I hope that it can be a good year for Ferrari, and we can start the 2022 on a high. I've been driving the car a lot in the simulator, and in the simulator you can already start to feel some differences in driving style and the way you set up the car. But at the same time, I think it will be a normal process, a natural process of adapting to the car or what the car is asking my body and my driving style to do. No, but I'm pretty sure there will be some differences, and we will need to adapt. That's why we have some extra days of testing this year, and we need to make sure we hit the ground running when we go to the first race. No, first of all, I just want to say a great thank you, to all the tifosi that supported me since the moment I arrived in Ferrari. Last year, I felt like it was a special year for me. They made me feel at home right from the start, and I felt like this relationship kept growing through the year to finish in a high in Abu Dhabi altogether, and now it's time to start in 2022 where we left, or hopefully even better, which could be a great beginning to the year.
The car is incredible. I really, really like it. I think it looks really extreme. What strikes me the most is probably the side pods, because they are just so different to what we are used to and what we've seen from other cars until now. So yeah, I just really like the aggressive look of this car. Having driven the new car in the simulator in the last few months, probably the main difference is the braking. The braking is very different to what we were used to in the past, mostly because of the weight. These cars are heavier, but actually it's strange because you mostly feel it on braking, but not that much in the corners, which makes it yeah, quite interesting, and we'll have to adapt our driving as quickly as possible during testing. Thank you so much to all of you guys that support us. I know that the last 2 years have not been easy for the team and for you, of course, that are supporting us, but we've been working extremely hard for this new car. It is a big opportunity for us, and we'll make sure that we start this season on the right foot and give you the results that you all deserve and that I think we deserve after all the work we've done.
La vettura 2022, lato Power Unit, ha un duplice significato. Da un lato abbiamo dovuto contribuire al cambio del regolamento attraverso un'installazione e un layout specifico. Dall'altro abbiamo dovuto sviluppare al meglio il nostro prodotto, visto il successivo congelamento fino al nuovo corso regolamentare. Ne è uscito un progetto non convenzionale, estremo, dal punto di vista dell'installazione in vettura, del layout e certamente di buona parte dei suoi componenti interni. Certamente il motore a combustione interna e il turbocompressore sono gli elementi che caratterizzano la Power Unit 2022 di inizio stagione, anche perché il sistema ibrido è di fatto un consolidamento dell'evoluzione che abbiamo portato in pista alla fine della scorsa stagione. Anche l'elettronica è dovuta cambiare molto e si è dovuta adeguare alle esigenze di una vettura completamente rivista e di un motore decisamente diverso da quello dell'anno passato. In generale rappresenta il terzo passo del nostro percorso di sviluppo, essendo stato il primo il motore dell'inizio della scorsa stagione e appunto il secondo l'evoluzione del sistema ibrido portato in pista alla fine del 2021. Certamente ha pesato. Diciamo che rispetto agli anni scorsi ci ha spinto e imposto di osare nelle soluzioni progettuali ancora di più, vista l'importante scadenza temporale e appunto il successivo periodo di congelamento. Abbiamo dovuto portare tutti i nostri programmi al limite, abbiamo dovuto tenere la porta aperta fino all'ultimo momento a tutte le possibili evoluzioni e certamente abbiamo dovuto prenderci tutti i rischi necessari. Diciamo che è stato un elemento accelerante dello sviluppo in un mondo, il nostro, che già di per sé piano non va. L'introduzione del 10% di etanolo riduce il contenuto energetico della benzina finale e quindi come tale ha un impatto sulla prestazione sia in termini di potenza motore che in termini di recupero di energia dal gas di scarico. È vero anche che l'etanolo ha anche alcune caratteristiche non necessariamente negative per la combustione, ma che devono essere sfruttate in modo adeguato da un opportuno progetto motore. Diciamo che al netto di tutte queste considerazioni la perdita prestazionale è dell'ordine dei 20 cavalli. L'impatto tecnico dell'introduzione dell'etanolo nel combustibile è comunque anche più elevato del solo aspetto prestazionale, vista l'estremizzazione del nostro prodotto. Ma proprio per questo è ancora più significativa la sua introduzione nell'ambito dei motori da Formula 1. Ed è positivo come la FIA stia intraprendendo una importante campagna verso la sostenibilità che culminerà nel futuro, nel 2026, con il nuovo format di regolamento tecnico e l'introduzione di un combustibile 100% sostenibile. È stata decisamente importante e soprattutto coerente con il nostro percorso di sviluppo che ci doveva portare al 2022 con una power unit migliorata in tutte le sue parti. Diciamo che quando si introduce un upgrade così importante come quello del sistema ibrido per noi lo scorso anno, per quanto si possa sviluppare a banco, è solo la pista, il banco prova più completo e come tale più efficace per validare un nuovo prodotto. Abbiamo avuto dei riscontri tecnici importanti che abbiamo poi trasferito all'interno del progetto del 2022. Diciamo che ogni anno come Power Unit lavoriamo sempre a stretto contatto con i colleghi dell'area telaio, cercando di trovare sempre il miglior compromesso per il bene della vettura. Quest'anno è stata certamente diversa, se non più difficile, certamente è stato più ampio lo spettro delle soluzioni che abbiamo dovuto valutare e validare e siamo andati a dover definire delle soluzioni non sempre in linea con quelle del passato. Quindi certamente è stato un buon banco prova per le nostre capacità di progetto, di simulazione, i nostri tool e le nostre metodologie. C'è tanto di nuovo, c'è tanto di innovativo all'interno di questa Power Unit. Basti pensare che la percentuale di componenti nuovi del motore a combustione interna rispetto alla stagione precedente è una delle più alte degli ultimi anni. C'è un'innovazione dal punto di vista dei contenuti, ma c'è anche un'innovazione dal punto di vista dell'architettura, della disposizione in vettura e del layout in generale. Certamente rispetto al passato abbiamo dovuto valutare e intraprendere delle soluzioni diverse e questo penso che nel nostro ambiente rappresenti qualcosa di effettivamente continuamente innovativo. Diciamo che nel nostro sport questa è sempre la domanda più difficile, nel senso che il vero grado di soddisfazione si misura al momento della competizione in pista. Posso dire però che ci eravamo dati tra gli altri obiettivi tecnici almeno l'obiettivo di non avere rimpianti, di non aver provato tutto quanto era possibile provare e nel non avere il rimpianto di aver lasciato qualcosa di intentato lungo la strada. Questo penso che lo possiamo dire di averlo raggiunto. Quanto e se sarà sufficiente ce lo dirà la pista, come è giusto che sia. Certamente però al momento il credito e la mia riconoscenza va a tutte le persone del gruppo Power Unit che hanno lavorato e continuano a lavorare sentendo la responsabilità della storia della scuderia e di esserne i custodi di una tradizione vincente.
Il progetto della vettura per i nuovi regolamenti tecnici è iniziato nella seconda parte del 2019. A quel punto doveva essere la vettura per il 2021. Poi è arrivata la pandemia Con la pandemia è arrivato il rinvio del nuovo regolamento tecnico dal 2021 al 2022 e al contempo è stato bloccato per regolamento lo sviluppo aerodinamico dal marzo al dicembre del 2020. Poi lo sviluppo è ricominciato a pieno ritmo all'inizio del 2021. È un'opportunità esaltante in cui cadono tutti i punti di riferimento dal passato e in cui si riparte da foglio bianco. Occorre ripensare a quali saranno le caratteristiche della vettura, a quali saranno le sue limitazioni, a quali saranno le aree di sviluppo più promettenti. Questo regolamento è così differente dal passato che ci ha proiettati su un terreno sconosciuto e tutto da esplorare. Faccio soltanto un esempio. Il fondo vettura non sarà più piatto, ma sarà tridimensionale. E questa sarà la prima volta dal 1982. Anche solo questo unico contenuto porta con sé tantissime grandi implicazioni sia sull'assetto vettura sia sul disegno delle sospensioni. La difficoltà più grande che abbiamo incontrato è stata quella di armonizzare tra loro gli obiettivi che ci siamo dati all'inizio del progetto. Questi obiettivi sono risultati spesso tra di loro contrastanti e quello che è servito è trovare il compromesso migliore per ottimizzare la prestazione globale. Ad esempio, spesso sono entrati in contrasto l'obiettivo di peso vettura e quello di prestazione aerodinamica. In quei momenti è molto importante non perdere d'occhio dove si trova l'ottimo della prestazione assoluta della vettura. Penso che vedremo diverse interpretazioni del regolamento in alcune aree della vettura. In alcuni casi queste interpretazioni porteranno a piccolissime differenze sulla prestazione globale e semplicemente sposteranno l'accento da una ad un'altra variabile. In altri casi invece l'effetto potrebbe essere molto grande. È stato un lungo viaggio in cui a farla da padrone sono state la passione, l'entusiasmo e la curiosità. Oggi invece, in questo momento, quello che provo più di tutto è l'impazienza di vedere questa vettura finalmente in pista e la voglia di tornare a competere per il vertice. Quello che posso dire è che sono molto orgoglioso del lavoro che ha fatto tutto il team. Poi per essere soddisfatti bisognerà aspettare di vedere la competitività in pista.
On the sporting change, the main new aspect is that we have done a few tweaks into the race weekend format. We have tried, together with the other teams, together with the FIA, with Formula 1, we have tried to ensure that the race weekend becomes a little bit shorter in such a way that we can all digest a bit better this long calendar with the 23 races. So for example, on Friday, the practice sessions are moved further forward in the afternoon in such a way that the teams may get the opportunity to come a little bit later at the racetrack. Another example is the curfew that the FIA imposed for every day of the race weekend. This curfew will force us to leave the racetrack a little bit earlier every day, again, in such a way that for the people working in the paddock, they can enjoy a little bit of a less stressful weekend so that we can go through more races with a bit more ease. You know, 2021 was very important for us, even though the growth results might not be one that, as a team, as Ferrari, you can be happy with. it was a very important season. First, because we were coming from an extremely difficult 2020 season. We had to turn around that result. The regulations were half frozen. So we knew we had a challenge to prove ourselves at that time. So it was important to go back in a higher positions in the picking order of the grid. Then the fight for the third place, we treated it as a World Championships. We knew it was very similar, we were very similar in terms of car performance compared to our main opponent last year. So it was going to be a points for points fight until the very last race of the season. So as a team, we grew a lot through that phase. I think we gained confidence through our capabilities to win that fight. And hopefully it makes us today a much stronger team. We have made straight forwards, and we now are looking forward, fighting for bigger things. I think Charles and Carlos are actually closer together than what you can see from the outside. It's not only that they get on well together, they respect each other, they enjoy working together, they are very conscious of the role they play into driving the car development together, and therefore at the moment there is not much more we can hope for in terms of integration and the quality of the work they are delivering. Mattia often says it's the best pair of drivers of the paddock, and that's how we feel within Ferrari when we see them working. It doesn't mean that we don't want to go further. We still think that there is some potential to unlock in both of them in terms of everything that their raw talent has to offer, and we are working with them to unlock these talent and to make further steps together. So the pandemic had a huge impact on the sport, as you would imagine, given the scale of what we have all witnessed. I think we are all very proud of the fact that we were the first international sport to go back to action. For Ferrari, it came with one key priority: our people. So the first thing we looked at is, are we able to guarantee safe operations for our people before to send them back to the racetrack? We have worked a lot with the other teams, with the FIA, with F1, to build a set of precautions that became our safety protocols that today we are operating under. It has worked well for these 2 years. We have proved that we can race around the world even in these extremely difficult conditions, but we are equally aware that there is no room for any of us to decrease our level of attentions, to decrease the level of precautions we are taking. And it's with this spirit that we are looking into this season starting. Of course, hoping that the world situations will improve rapidly, but in the meantime, being very, very conscious that we need to keep maximum precautions for our people to be able to keep racing. So at first, Ferrari has always put its people in the center of its attention. So it's with this DNA that we are looking at the new season with the 23 races. What can we do for our people? Then it is of course going to be a competitive advantage. The way we can keep our people fresh, the way we can keep the energy for our people is going to be a competitive advantage. If you put these two things together, what we have done is that we have built a program for them, not only this season, it's a program that started years back, in which we try to ensure that we keep them in the best possible conditions before the season, during the season, after the season, so that we can make that this activity sustainable for them and for the sport. You know, the new tires, the 18-inch tire, is one of the two big pillars of these new regulations. Now you have the aero and you have these 18-inch tires. It's a change we have been working on for the last 2 years, very closely with Pirelli. Is it going to impact the way we run the car? Yes, probably. Do we know exactly in which term and how? not fully. We will have to learn it. It's going to be as well a competitive advantage, and it's going to be probably one of the most important talking points of the seasons. So yes, the impact will be significant, and yes, we expect that a lot of our energy will go into the understanding and on how to go about these tires during the seasons. The new tires will also be a new challenge when it comes to pit stop. Bigger tires, bigger wheel, 4 kilograms more per tire, the wheel cover on the outside of them. It is a new challenge for the mechanics. We had to train very specifically throughout the winter in order to try to offset for these aspects that are giving us more constraints. But you know how it is in Formula One. We don't like to give away or give back any performance. So we are targeting to be at the same level than we were last year with the 13-inch tires. There are a number of good news coming with the new tires. One of them is the sustainability aspect of them. We will be running tire blankets on our car, as we did in the last few years, but we'll be running them at lower temperatures, trying to take a glide path towards the removal of these tire blankets in 2024. Our approach to these winter tests is going to be very different compared to the other years. The fact that the cars are so new will force us to go into a very long and disciplined process of characterizations of the car dynamics. So we will be mapping our cars, we will be comparing how they perform at the racetrack from an aerodynamic perspective, from a tire perspective, compared to everything we have been simulating, modeling for the last 12 months. So because of that, it's going to be very difficult to have an idea of the relative performance of the teams, certainly for the first test in Barcelona. It will probably be also difficult to get that picture for the second test in Bahrain, but because the first race will only be a few days later, still in Bahrain, I think as we get closer to the end of the second test, team will be forced to start to invest some of the precious testing times in trying to assess the absolute performance of the car and the qualifying and race simulations. But altogether, I think we'll have to wait for the actual race weekends to start to have pictures of how people are competitive with their new car. So at first, Ferrari has a fairly large operation when it comes to its driver academy. It's a project that is strategic for us. We are investing a lot of energy on it because we believe it is the right way to find our future talents, and we believe it is also the right actions for the sport and the impact that the sport has on the younger generations. So we welcome the opportunity. Robert Schwartzman is the one that is going to run the two FP1s for Ferrari. But I think even more than the two FP1s that Robert is going to do, it puts the right light on the young drivers, on the importance to preserve some space for them to make sure that in the futures, the best talent have the right opportunities to reach the top. We are enjoying having Charles Leclerc coming from our academy, driving in our race car, and I think we need to make sure that there is enough testing opportunities in the futures and enough opportunities in general for young drivers, talented young drivers, to emerge. Actually, having two reserve drivers was the natural choice for us looking at this season. On one side, we have Antonio. Obviously, he's coming from 3 very strong seasons with Alfa Romeo. It's a shame he's not on the grid this year, but we could not take the opportunity to have him with us, with his experience, with his skills. So we have built a program that is compatible with his other racing activities. On the other side, we have Mick coming from our academy, doing a fantastic job in his first year with Haas last year, and we felt that it was the right balance, and we have built a program for them in such a way that by combining the simulator, the work with the engineers, the opportunity to run on the older car around Fiorano, that we could have the best combination in terms of having a driver ready to jump into the red car should we need to do so. The team has been working very hard. In the winter, he has been working well. We are all very impatient to see the result of that work and to see how the result of that work match what our competitors did. So we are looking at these seasons with a strong desire to compete, with a strong desire to fight for bigger objectives than the one we have been fighting last year. And I think the result of that will be probably the fair reflection of where the team skills and experience are at the moment.